What's up, everybody? I want to tell you about Anchor. If you haven't heard about Anchor by Spotify, it's one of the easiest ways to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place. Let me explain. Anchor has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. When hosting Anchor on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. And best of all, Anchor is totally free. So download Anchor, the app, or go to anchor.fm to get started. And I'm a veteran, so let's hear some more military cadences. What's up, dudes and dudettes? You ever just be using the bathroom or restroom or el baño or however you want to call it and be like, how did I get here in this place at this time? Sometimes I look at my surroundings and I just be like, how did I end up here? Like, for real. And I'm not on drugs. It's just so crazy. Like, I live in a lot of different cities and states, and sometimes you just get these like time warp things where it's like the surroundings change and it's so weird and it just never registers, and you'll spend years of your life sometimes in another city and state and you'll just not even remember it, or you do in your present day and you're looking around, you wake up and it's like you're in a whole nother place, and it's all matrixy to me. But yeah, those are the things that I'm thinking about today. So my oldest boy is moving, and of course he is needing some help still from mommy. And I'm telling you, being a parent, it never stops. They always need something, man. I'm telling you, if you financially don't want to be responsible for somebody for the rest of your life, don't have kids. At least with a dog, they give you like a 10 to 15 years. Speaking of dogs, I have a Frenchie, and they have voted them like the America's favorite dog. I mean, they are absolutely cute, but these dogs are very needy and very much a toddler. Like, my dog is very she is cute, but she's not she loves to cuddle, but it's all for her benefit. Nothing is for yours. She's not one of these dopey dogs she likes to see you when you get home, but it's only for you to give her something. Like, she's very much a take situation. It's literally like having another child, especially a toddler. She likes to play with her toys and push them off the bed so you can go get them. Like, she's very ornery. And so yes, they are cute, but yes, they are a handful. So the judge in Texas that's ruling on the abortion pill, he's saying that he doesn't think he's going to restrict the bill, but he's thinking of not letting people get it by mail or something like that. Who knows? More Chinese conspiracy. A Chinese billionaire and associate of Steve Bannon arrested in $1 billion fraud conspiracy, officials say. Exiled Chinese billionaire Gui Wenge, an associate of former Trump White House advisor Steve Bannon, was arrested by federal authorities in New York on Wednesday morning, accused of orchestrating a billion fraud scheme, prosecutors announced. Charged in court papers as Ho Guan Kwok, and who goes by Miles Gua and Miles Kwok, he has a few aliases, were charged with 12 counts, including wire fraud, securities fraud, bank fraud, and money laundering, in the indictment unsealed on Wednesday. The same day the news of his arrest came to light, the Manhattan apartment on Fifth Avenue was found on fire, and a source a source familiar with the FBI said. An FBI spokesperson said agents were executing law enforcement activity at the apartment when the blaze broke out after he was already in custody. Yeah, I mean, hey, he's pleading not guilty. He smiled from time to time, turned to look to reporters in public in attendance. At one point, he showed a thank you gesture to one of the courtroom sketch artists. A Mandarin translator was present for the hearing, yada, yada, yada. Hey, these guys are rich and committing crimes in the U.S. Full of billionaires just doing stuff. Interesting. So, this Stormy Daniels, she's going to forever be in the spotlight. Trump's lawyer puts forward Stormy Daniels' hush money defense as it's not a crime. He says he never had sex with her, but they're calling her to another. I don't really know what's going to stick with Trump, honestly, at this point. It's been years and nothing yet. This man's been charged with more things than not, man. Let's see. 7 Virginia deputies were charged with the murder and the death of a man who prosecutors say was smothered at a hospital. Let's listen. It'll play. I promise you these things never want to play. It just wants me to read, and I really try and give my little voice a break, but watch it play when I start reading. Whatever. 7 Virginia sheriff's deputies have been charged with murder and the death of a man who had been arrested and was physically restrained while being admitted to a hospital this month. Authorities said that 7 Henrico County's deputies were charged with second-degree murder and March 6th death of Arvo Otieno, 28. The prosecutors said that Otieno was to be admitted to the hospital and he was physically restrained and that he died during the intake process. He died of asphyxia due to being smothered to death thanks to having at least 7 people, including the defendant, on top of him holding him down. Commonwealth's attorney Ann Capel said on court on Wednesday. The medical examiner's office in Richmond did not immediately respond to requests for comment after business hours Wednesday about the cause of manner. He went into the state hospital at 3:58, and they were told he had become combative during the admission process and was physically restrained, died during the intake process. The family is truly grief-stricken after learning of the brutal nature of his death and his inhumane treatment in the hours preceding his death. The public and experienced mental health professionals alike will be appalled when the facts of this case are fully made known. Randy Joseph Boyer, 57, Dwayne Allen Bramble, 37, Jermaine LeVar, 45, Thomas, 43, Tabitha, 50, Brandon, and were all charged. Now, all of the deputies were charged, had attorneys listed them in their court records. Kerry Bowden, who represents the branch, said his client has been with the department for 24 years. None of them are known as bullies. Otieno had been arrested and was accused of assaulting Henrico County police officers at the doctor's hospital after they responded to a possible burglary. Henrico police had placed him under emergency custody order. The department said Virginia law says such orders are used in cases of mental illness. At the hospital, Otieno became physically assaultive towards officers who arrested him and took him to a local jail, which is managed by the sheriff's office. The 7 deputies have been placed on admin leave, and yeah, they're just waiting to see what comes of this. I know in the case of these cases, like, it's just wild, and people are just really aren't equipped or trained to deal with mental illness. It's really crazy. You just really don't know which way anything is ever going. Utah governor signs legislation banning clinics from providing abortions. And yeah. Just more news on the Frenchies, which I already spoke about, those little bug-eyed fools. So the guy from Euphoria, the mean one, Nate, he has a stalker. He said he's scared. He has a male fan with a criminal history who keeps showing up at his home with unwanted gifts, and even though he's told the guy to scram, the dude is professing his love for him. The Euphoria star beelined to court on Monday to get a restraining order against the 61-year-old Robert Dennis Furrow, who claims he has been stalking him. In the docs obtained by TMZ, Jacob says Furrow twice dropped by his Hollywood home to leave gifts, pastries, a bouquet of roses, candies, and a handwritten note, even though Jacob says he never met the guy before. Jacob claims the first incident happened on February 5th when he went out to walk his dog with a friend and came home to find a bag of pastries hanging over a street-facing side gate. He claims he trashed the food, but a few minutes later, Furrow was in his yard yelling Jacob's name, professing his love, and saying he was happy to see Jacob's stupid, ugly face. Jacob says he confronted the guy, telling him to beat it. When the guy finally left, Jacob says he ran outside to get his license plate and then called the police. A few weeks later, Jacob claims he came home from running errands to find flowers, candy, and a note in his backyard, and he says he has Furrow on security footage entering his property 3 times in 30 minutes that day. Jacob submitted a copy of the note in the filing. Jacob, I wanted to apologize for Saturday. Was going to catch you in. Wanted you to tell me if you have been sending. I found you on a beautiful Saturday afternoon, quite organically, without address, without getting lost like this time. Would it be possible if you would call? My hands are shaking. It sounds scary. Jacob says he thinks Furrow is monitoring his home or tracking his location because he says the guy shows up when he leaves the house. He says he is now shooting a film and afraid to come back home. Jacob says he is hurt. Furrow has a rap sheet and claims he's the same guy Nicolas Cage said barged into his house back in 2007, waking Nick up in the middle of the night while wearing nothing but one of his leather coats. What's more is Jacob says Furrow keeps posting on social media about how he loves him, and he says he's scared Furrow's behavior may escalate. The judge signed off on a temporary restraining order, and it calls for Furrow to stop trying to contact Jacob and stay at least 100 yards away from Jacob and his house. That is wild. Like, these stalkers in Hollywood, I mean, you have to know that some people literally move to Hollywood to stalk people. It is wild. Kanye West will not be charged after an incident for him grabbing and tossing the phone that somebody was trying to take a picture of him with. Diddy is trying to buy BET. Diddy's always trying to buy something, isn't he? Oh, to be rich and famous. Just going around buying stuff, being a Chinese billionaire. I mean, it just never stops. So this trans male is back to being a woman. She said, I thought womanhood was unsafe before ever experiencing it. Prisha Mosley told Post, I was afraid of life I hadn't tested yet. Now I don't get to be a woman fully, and I will never know what it's like. The 25-year-old is transitioning back to being a woman after
Realtor.com. There's so many houses for sale. Where do we even start? The House Whisperer. That's right. I was raised in houses. Grew up.
When I want things to play, it doesn't play. Sucker. Anyway, I thought womanhood was unsafe before experiencing it. I was afraid of a life I hadn't tested yet. Now I don't get to be a woman fully, and I will never know what it's like. The 25-year-old is transitioning back to being a woman after she says she was failed by medical professionals who led her down a path to testosterone injections and double mastectomy by the age of 18. Preacher said she was rushed through gender transition after being convicted by activists and therapists that being born in the wrong body was the root of all her problems. I don't think people should be allowed to take this experimental medicine and do these experimental surgeries until they're 25 when the brain is fully developed. Her upbringing in Maryland and North Carolina was a difficult one, so Preacher turned to the internet for solace and found a transgender activist community online. I was dealing with very, very adult things, and therefore I wasn't able to make any friends my age. Preacher now lives in Michigan, told the Post, so I started being online a lot and talking to adults online, and I got preyed upon. At the onset of puberty at age 12, Preacher says she experienced rapid onset gender dysphoria, a controversial term used to describe a sudden and urgent feeling of being in the wrong gender. I literally hated every aspect of who I was and what I looked like. Preacher said, I spent some time being a girly girl and being a tomboy and being a smart girl and being this other girl, but none of those different hats fit me. And so I was like, I guess I'm just not a girl. That since became overwhelming at 14 when Preacher said she was sexually assaulted by a 20-year-old friend of a friend. Being violated made her further reject her womanhood. I thought that this only happened to girls, she said, and I thought that was just the beginning. At 15, she socially transitioned, presenting as male, and came out to her parents, who tried to support her. At first, experience was hugely affirming, especially with her online friends cheering her on. I was getting tons of attention, she recalled, and that felt wonderful, which is why it was so addicting. I was being love bombed. The online activist helps connect Preacher to transgender specialists. She brought her parents to the appointment, which lasted less than an hour. For Preacher, meeting with the specialist was affirming. She looked me in the eyes and she said, "You are a boy." For her parents, she added, the experience was terrifying. My parents were bullied. He said, "Do you want a dead daughter or a living son? Do you want to pick up your daughter's hormones or her body from the morgue?" Preacher recalled. They were manipulated. She left the appointment with a referral for hormone replacement therapy that she brought to a hospital, an institution that she now says should have pumped the brakes given her medical history. On top of struggling with depression and anxiety, Preacher had suicidal ideation and self-harm throughout her teen years. She'd even had wounds on her own creation stitched up at the same hospital. She's also being treated by a nutritionist there for severe anorexia. On top of all that, she had been diagnosed with borderline personality disorder. I was an impressionable, documented, mentally ill child. Nonetheless, she claimed doctors began administering testosterone treatment when she was only 15. Right after her 18th birthday, Preacher had a double mastectomy to masculinize her chest. I was under the impression that I was a boy, that I was born in the wrong body, and this medicine and surgery is what I needed, and not being aligned is why I was suicidal, she recalled. After surgery, Preacher said she was lured to Florida to live with a group of people she online who told her she was unsafe living with her family. When trans adults told me that there was going to be a trans genocide in a few years and that conservatives wanted to kill us, she explained, I could not distinguish reality from fiction. Preacher lived with her online friends for 3 years until having positive experience while in therapy for her other mental health issues. I felt tremendous amount of relief and realized the transition didn't help the underlying issues. She said, I was like, oh my God, I could have gotten this feeling and stopped being suicidal without mutilating my body. That's when she stopped taking hormones. The biggest feeling was probably shame, Preacher recalled. I was realizing that I made such a fuss over having found what was going to cure me and then being wrong about that cure. She moved to Michigan to start a new life. The scars of her transition still haunt her. Preacher suffers vocal cord pain and severe vaginal atrophy from the testosterone treatment. She also says she lost part of her nipples after they were grafted back on during her mastectomy. Because of her mastectomy, she would never be able to breastfeed, and Preacher doesn't even know whether she is still fertile. But she is happy in a relationship now and talking to her family. Preacher also enrolled in university, became a therapist to help other people who are struggling. I actually have a huge deal of empathy for trans people or trans-identified people, she said. That was a mouthful. But I was just reading this because I think this is interesting. I think, for kids, like, I agree with the whole 25 thing because you really don't know who you are, and some 25-year-olds don't even know who they are. And I just think, you know, jumping to that at such at a young age like she did, and then later regretting it and wanting to transition back, and now she's done all these things, and it just like, to be comfortable in your skin is something that people are trying to do every day. So you are not alone if you are uncomfortable. I would completely suggest getting counseling and just really trying to work on it. But I firmly believe that you should be waiting till 25 to do any of these things, because I mean, once it's changed, going back is not easy. And I know either way can suck, but before you get anything, BBLs, whatever, like really get therapy, really understand why you're doing this to yourself, why, and know that like you're not alone when feeling uncomfortable in your skin. Some of the so-called most prettiest people, I saw a model commit suicide like today. So it's like, just know that like sometimes it's not about that, and sometimes it is. I just think I agree with this person when they said that they should have waited. Whew. Okay. Let me see what else is going on. That was a lot of reading, and then like I said, I knew the freaking thing was gonna start freaking playing. So this dude, the Family Feud killer, joked about regretting marriage before his wife's murder, which is kind of wild. We'll see if this one will play to save my voice, and it probably won't.
Realtor.com. There's so many houses. Where do we even start?
I promise you, I hate these things. It's just like, really, and why? So, former Family Feud contestant charged with killing his wife inside her Illinois home joked on the show 3 years ago that the worst mistake he made at their wedding was saying "I do." Timothy Bleefnick, who was arrested Monday for the brutal home invasion and execution of his wife, Rebecca Bleefnick, sported an eager grin as he delivered an answer to host Steve Harvey's question, "What's the biggest mistake you made at your wedding?" "Honey, I love you, but I said I do," Bleefnick quickly responded during his family's appearance on the show, which has been taped in the fall of 2019 and aired on the spring of 2020. Both the audience and Robinson gasped at his answer, and his cheery delivery video shows Bleefnick's own family laughed at his answer while Harvey maintained a grin and stared at the player. Not my mistake. I love my wife," backpedaled Bleefnick, who looked nearly unrecognizable in a crew cut. "Yes, going to be a lot of hell to pay at your house," Steve Harvey stoically quipped. Though seemingly made in jest, Bleefnick's answer may have held a considerable amount of truth. Bleefnick is accused of breaking into his wife's home on February 23rd and shooting her to death. The gun-riddled body of the 41-year-old decorated nurse was found when she didn't show up to pick up her 3 kids from school. Bleefnick and Rebecca were married in 2009 but had been separated for several years and were going through divorce proceedings at the time of her death. Rebecca had filed a restraining order against Bleefnick and his father. Creepy. According to his lawyer, Bleefnick had never been arrested before, and that the couple's 3 sons had never been removed due to violence. He's being held at the Adams County Jail, no bond warrant. So, was it some truth to that joke? It's so creepy when you see stuff like this and then stuff like that happens. Kind of like that Jenny Jones episode where the guy had somebody profess his love and then he ended up killing the dude. It's kind of wild. Let's see what else we're going to talk about. So it's all kind of little stories out here. The Wednesday star Jenna Ortega is being blasted by Hollywood producers saying she is entitled and toxic. Oh no, Wednesday, don't let that character be true. You don't want to get that name. They'll just throw some other girl in Wednesday and put her in that makeup. See how much what we have left. There was news today, but your girl gotta save her vocal cords because these little freaking apps be playing games with me. They want to play when they want to play. Justin Bieber's face is showing mobility after his temporary paralysis with the Ramsay-Hunt syndrome. So he might be on his way back. Drake and 21 Savage are going on tour, and people are tripping about the prices. They were talking about $1,000 per ticket, $2,000 per ticket. So this was a sad story here, and something that you guys have to truly be aware of. Let's see if this.
What's up, roommates?
Okay. We're going to see if this one will play, so I can at least skip these.
American dream, but what happens when it becomes a nightmare?
My total investment was $7,500.
I paid $22,500.
The plan was to build a black-owned oasis in rural Georgia, but this Atlanta woman is accused of selling land to black buyers, land that she didn't own.
We're not giving up.
Is it a scam or was there good intention? I'm Justin Carter. This is TSR Investigates. Marlena Barnett sold a dream to several people who now say that it was all a lie. It's called Lakes of Somerville in Somerville, Georgia. It's advertised with black people in mind, a place where we can go build property on acres of land. Everything from vacation homes to cabins to clubhouses, even swimming pools. But some people say that when they started paying money for that land, not everything was what it seemed. The rollout seemed promising. The first black woman-owned resort subdivision in the country. It would sit on hundreds of acres.
Our organization is currently building an up-and-coming health and wellness community, energy-efficient homes, vacation rentals, a clubhouse, bike trails, fishing ponds.
There was even a ribbon cutting. On this YouTube marketing ad, they broke down the cost. Modular homes starting at $180,000.
If we sell 120 homes at $180,000, we can render about $23 million.
I had to zoom in a little bit. You can clearly see the mistakes on the graphics. This says 2.3 million. It's supposed to say 23 million. But Bonnie Hunt, nonetheless, was sold on the idea. She lives in Cleveland.
So I wanted to just have some type of refuge for the kids, for my family, to put a cabin on so that we can get away from all the noise. I gave her, my initial deposit was $1,000. And then a week later, I paid her $6,500. So my total investment was $7,500 for an acre of land.
That was November 2021. She even signed a general contract.
She finally gave us a deed in, I think it was March of 2022. And when we found out we couldn't file those deeds because she didn't own the land, that's when all hell broke loose.
What have you gotten so far?
Nothing. I've gotten absolutely nothing.
So the Shade Room called up Marlena Barnett, the leader and brains behind Lakes of Somerville.
We wanted the project to be completed within a 12-month span, but unfortunately that did not happen.
She says that not enough people bought into the project.
But unfortunately, when you're trying to do a big project like this and you don't have all of the financial resources and you can't unite and bring everyone together, you do run up against issues.
But here's where it gets tricky. Barnett allegedly collected thousands of dollars for plots of land that she technically didn't own. According to the Somerville News, some of the land belongs to a retired couple, Will and Judy Hare, who, according to court records, allegedly agreed to sell the property for $490,000. The Hares claim that Barnett never paid, and that's when they pulled out of the deal.
In order for us to continue, we would have to pay off that land in full. We would have to pay off the land completely.
A company called CMJM owns another portion of the land.
What's up, roommates?
So be careful. I think that really sucks, though. You have this dream that you know, gonna invest in all this, and then people freaking scam you. That freaking sucks. So Real Housewives of Potomac, Juan Dixon, Robin's husband, has been fired from his head coaching gig at Coppin State University following a lawsuit. Let me see what they are saying. According to WMAR, Juan has officially been relieved of his duties after serving as the Baltimore HBCU's head basketball coach for 6 seasons. Notably, this news comes at the heels of Juan becoming involved in a shocking lawsuit that was filed against the university late last year. As the Shade Room previously reported, the lawsuit argues that Juan neglected to take action after a player disclosed that he was being sexually assaulted, harassed, and blackmailed by Lucien Brownlee, an assistant coach. Brownlee, who's accused of initially posing as a woman to obtain explicit photos, that athlete allegedly went on to blackmail him into engaging into a sexual act, which was recorded. He then published the material after the student athlete refused to comply with further demands per the lawsuit. Despite the student informing Juan of the situation, both he and Coppin State are accused of neglecting to take proper action. While on this subject, we also have to point out that Robin Dixon spoke out on how Juan handled the lawsuit during the last installment. Despite the allegations against Juan, Robin said he handled the situation exactly the way she would want someone to handle the situation for her own children. We should add that she didn't deny the student's allegation against Lucien Brownlee. Additionally, she proclaimed that Juan's name was included in the matter to essentially serve as clickbait to really push the story she called unfortunate. Nationally, the news spread like wildfire over Twitter, and users weren't shy about expressing their opinions. Yeah, a lot of people were saying that. I mean, that's the thing about this show, is because, or just being on reality TV, period, like, that is the two-edged sword, because you got, I mean, any scandal, anything that's involving that is going to somehow rope you in, period. So it's really no way around it. And sometimes I'm just wondering, for the fame, it's not that much fortune, but for the fame of it all, is it worth it to continue to put your family and stuff on freaking reality TV? Is it worth it? So I'm getting into these stories, and I'm multitasking because I'm reading. And let's see what we got here. On the Ask Women, Men, yada yada yada. Let's see. It was some interesting one on here, but I'm trying not to do raunchy tonight. For some people love to be raunchy on this app. This is interesting. What was the relationship like after you broke up and got back together again? Great at first, but full of resentment later on. If you just get together without sorting things out that broke you up in the first place, it's not going to last. I agree. Somebody said, great. He finally seen I wasn't joking about the things I need, and I don't want to be a 1950s gender stereotypical relationship. He helps out with the kids and house while I also work. We're getting married in 2 weeks. The problems that caused us to break up in the first place became problems again. Shocker. And we broke up again, and I wasted years of my life in the process. Somebody is 50-50. We've been better than ever. We broke up mostly due to constant power struggles and who was going to be in charge in a relationship. We're young and in our 20s, if that helps. Now that we actually see each other as a team, we haven't had that problem since. Most will not get back together, and I don't really encourage others to get back together with the next, but it's working for me on this one. Realized we really wanted to be together. We made the changes we needed and have been together over 24 years, very happily married. Somebody said, same stuff all over again. I no longer give second chances. It's 50-50. Some people like it. Some people said it's better communication. Some people say worse. Same problems came back but tenfold. And then instead of dumping me, we just, What are the signs that a guy is not mentally or emotionally matured? Reacts badly to hearing no instead of calmly accepting it like an adult. Whenever he admits he's wrong, also lack of emotional regulation. A mature man is able to understand his emotions, process them properly, and communicate them. When he's lived at his apartment for a period of time, it looks like he just moved in, stuff still in bins, containers, a single couch, TV, and a gaming system in his living room. Little to no furniture, no pillowcases, sheets on the bed, or just a mattress on the floor. Nothing on the walls except for a few Kobe Bryant posters, piles of laundry everywhere, piles of dishes everywhere, hanging bed sheets in place of curtains or no curtains at all, messy floors, counters, stains, etc. Only knows how to cook craft dinner and frozen pizza. Wow. Very detailed and funny. Listen, that's pretty bad, but a lot of men, they need some help. I know that my husband, his decor was lacking, and most of his things did not come with us to our house because it was no. Obviously, men have the best surround sound and not TVs, but other than that, Let's see what the men are talking about. I have a boy coming over for the first time in a year. I wax, change my sheets, wash my duvet, fluff my pillows, clean the bathroom, swept, organize the fridge, lit candles, and lotion my entire body. What do men do before a woman comes over? The guy says, shave my nuts, clean the house, specifically the bathroom, and nothing else. She would judge you on your piss-stained toilet the most. So if nothing else, at least the bathroom. Take a dump, then a shower, never the other way around. Hide my homemade pocket pee and slide living room dishes under the couch, flip the top sheet and blanket, hide the nightstand mirror and razor blade, take a quick poop, hit the living room with a leaf blower, and fast shower. Funny. Definitely clean the bathroom, fellas, in the kitchen, and at least the living room, and have it smelling decent in there, man. Come on. But if your bathroom is dirty, I will not. That is disgusting. I cannot. That's one of my biggest pet peeves is a dirty bathroom. I don't like dirty kitchens either. Those two, but the bathroom especially, no. So why do men think that women who wear revealing clothes is equated with having less self-respect? Dressing modestly for both men and women forces others, especially the opposite sex, to judge you based on your character and not how jacked or how curvy your body is. Putting your best traits forward. Revealing clothes have a proper occasion. Wearing them all the time is inappropriate. I don't think it's connected to self-respect. For me, it's because it screams of a huge need of sexual attention, which I associate with insecurity, low self-esteem, and narcissism, as contradictory as they may seem. And I've yet to be disproven, as every person I've ever known who dresses like this is deeply insecure, narcissistic, and has low self-esteem. And that applies to men just as much as women, but I almost never see men that dress this way. I agree, but some people really don't know. Like, if you're young and you're dressing like that, especially the clothes that they sell these days, some people's parents never teach them how to dress professional or how to, you'd be shocked that some people just don't know. And, they learn more that they get older, but it's wild. That is it. I read no videos wanted to cooperate and play for me, which was not cool. But tomorrow is Friday. That is something that I am looking forward to. Other than that, it's always a joy to talk to you guys. Take a look around at your house and remember, why are you there? Is it just to pay bills? Is it to clean? Or are you going to be time warped into another house in a minute? I don't know. It's just sometimes my brain just be like, you look outside and it's like, how did I end up here? It's not a bad thing, but it's kind of like, of all the places I've lived and been, some places, especially when you look over your past life, it's like, it only seemed like I was there for a week. That's how fast time goes. It's wild. But guess what? I'll be back tomorrow and it'll go fast, hopefully. You guys have an amazing day and let's get ready for the weekend. F is for Family is signing off.